Hey, I'm Michael Render, better known as Killer Mike, and I'm about the budget of what Adult Swim could afford for a commencement speaker. Seriously, I'm very happy to be coming today because these are some turbulent and terrible times. You guys have worked your butt off, whether you're graduating pre-K or elementary school or middle or more likely high school and college, and even graduate students in my trade school crowd. What's up, bruhs? It just sucks that you guys can't be sitting next to each other right now, arm in toe, celebrating the terrible and turbulent times you made it through in the library, studying like hell to be here. We're not together, and yet we are. And here I am just to say a couple things, really just 4 things to you. First of all, I have no grand, magical, imperial advice to give to you guys that makes everything better. I know that in a world of Instagram and everything appearing that it's lit right now, that there appears to be memes or magic answers. And there isn't. The world is always hard. It's always difficult. And somewhere for someone, it's always terrible and turbulent. So no matter what you've made it through, celebrate the day that you're here, that you're healthy, because know that right now, that health and the mental capacity you have is the wealthiest thing on earth. So the first thing you got to know about your wealthy self is you need to know who you are. If you're a young person, and I'm telling you, as an uncle, as a big homie, a mentor, and as a parent, because my son is in the graduating class this year too, that your biggest goal right now should be knowing who you are. You have been whoever you are to your friends. You've been what your parents perceived you to be. You've been what your mentors tried to tell you should be. But who you are is hiding deep, deep inside. And usually it's right there in the mirror in the morning. If you look past the physical, past your beautiful face, past your hair, nose, eyes, and you look deep into your mind and heart, you start to see the real you. You start to see the passions that really drive you. So in knowing who you are, what I want you to know is it's okay to be that. And it's okay to let people see that. And it's okay to be honest about that. Because you ultimately are determining your happiness, your sadness, your heaven, or your hell. And your first responsibility and accountability should be to that person in the mirror in the morning. Most of us have had pretty average lives. A lot of us have had extremely sucky lives. Some of us have had a life of no issues at all. Regardless, everyone has met challenges, and everyone has had to find their true self and some true grit in those challenges. So I'm telling you right now that the first goal is knowing who you are. The second goal is not rushing. The second goal is in knowing who I am, not making a mistake that Mike made as a dad. Well, what mistake was that? I rushed my daughter to go to college when she wasn't ready. Rushed her for 2 years until she finally got the courage to say, hey, old man, it's not what I want to do. And when I look back, what I should have done was give her a bag full of money and let her travel the world and see the places that she had read about in the books and see all the exotic things that she should see at 21 years old versus me having to wait till I was 41 because I did things another way. I should have made sure that my daughter was well-traveled and well-schooled and just moving around. And we're doing a better job of that now. But I'm really glad that she stopped me in my tracks and taught me the lesson of don't rush. We have the ability in these days and times to not have kids too early, to not have to go to work too fast, and to do things like actually walk out, to actually travel, to actually see more of the world and experience and grow the person you are, the most important person. That's as a parent, in retrospect, I wish I would have done for my 22-year-old, but it's taught me to do for my 13-year-old daughter. So I appreciate Anaya for teaching me to do that so that Mikey's way is going to be a little easier because the expectations aren't going to be her dad's, but one built around what she really wants to do. The other thing I want you guys to know is, like my daughter Anaya eventually did with me, you have to stand for something. I'll never forget, she was dressed as Marilyn Monroe one October. Pony was dressed as Jason. And I just had an issue with her dressing as a white woman who was a vixen. And I turned to her and said, why do you want to be Marilyn Monroe? I mean, why do you want to be a white woman? And she looks at me and says, and this is at like 12, Dad, you have a problem with me being Marilyn Monroe? Jason Voorhees is white. He's a killer. My little brother's standing here with a mask and a knife. You don't have any problems with that. And that's when I realized God has a sense of humor. When I asked God to give me kids like me, he gave me a little activist and protester. I thought it'd be around Pan-Africanism and black issues. She said black women count too. And she taught her dad a lesson in that moment. Because I asked her later, well, why'd you like Marilyn Monroe anyway? She says, Dad, because she was voluptuous and I'm a curvy girl. And I wanted to represent for somebody who made me feel good about being curvy. And I learned in that. But I only learned because my daughter was courageous enough to stand for something against the greatest empirical tyrant in her life, her father. You guys are going to have to know that in discovering who you are and in taking the time to really, really become who you are and not letting gains and expectations from other people rule who you are, knowing who you are and not rushing, there comes a point where you're going to see, like Neo in the Matrix, you're going to know what's wrong. You're going to see it happening before. And you're going to be the only thing that can change the course of the BS. You're going to be the person that instead of saying, stop, don't do that, you're going to be the person saying, if you do that, this will happen, so we're not going to go that way. It is incredibly lonely being that person sometimes, but there are other people in the room who want to be as brave as you. They just need a leader to do it. You are that leader. And I'm talking to all of you at once right now. I'm not talking about some grand messiah that arises out of you and leads you all. I'm talking about the person that you look at when you brush your teeth in the mirror in the morning, has the power to say, this is what makes the world better. This is what I will do. I will say hello to someone today. I will smile. It was like I'm talking about like work at the Chick-fil-A smile. Hello, how are you doing? I'll stop and let a passerby walk past my car. I won't cut off someone in traffic. I won't do anything to make anyone else's day a little shittier. And then when I see travesty, when I see evil, when I see corruption, when I see crime, I will stand up on the side of right. And I mean, if that's coming from a cop beating up a person they shouldn't, to a politician lying to the public, to teachers and faculty not doing the things they should. It is time that we understand that being brave and standing for something is a virtue that's not always rewarded, but should be. And I would encourage those that are around the brave and the ones that are willing to stand up to support them and to celebrate them. The only way we truly create the better world that we all aspire to is if we spend more time congratulating the great things that are happening and a lot less time talking about the horrors and the evils that only stoke fear and anger in us and create more and more negativity. Lastly, I want to tell you guys that I have failed a lot more than I've succeeded, and I want you guys to know that it is important to try again. I've been successful as a rapper about 8-9 years as a member of Run the Jewels. I was unsuccessful or marginally successful about 20 years. Anyone who's an investor will tell you that ain't a good payoff. But I will say, in terms of time, I gave up more time for failure. But in terms of payoff, I've been winning 300, 400, 500%. Simply because the lessons I've learned in knowing who I was and not rushing and allowing my music and who I am as a musician to become, and standing for something in my music, because that's what's truly brought me here, and outside of my music, and making sure that I'm a voice and use my podium, or whatever they call it, to amplify the right messages and not the wrong messages. And I failed and I've tried again. I've tried songs and had to try others. But before that, my grandmother put me with a lot of tradesmen and men of education and women of education, and all of them pretty much figured he tried, but he wasn't smart enough to do it. That was everything from being an electrician to being a plumber, painting cars, going to college. I mean, I failed at a lot. But I didn't fail at what I decided I was and what I wanted to do, and that was being the best Michael Render and rapper. I've not failed at being a father because I've had an opportunity to sit down with my kids and it's like, man, I really didn't know what I was doing on that one. And then say, yeah, this is the way you should have did it. So make sure with the younger one you do it this way. They've become my friends and advisors, the older ones. The younger ones have been the beneficiaries of the wisdom that their brothers and sisters have given me. And I've been a good student of the people that I once taught in them. I've tried to make sure that I represented my family's name and my community well, as I know you guys have been graduating or doing, and I encourage you to keep doing. I want to tell you that in the 4 things I've told you, knowing who you are, not rushing, standing for something and trying again, they simply represent the whole human being that you are. Those things are no different from you at 1 year old, walking across a room, falling, bumping your head on the edge of a table, and knowing the next time when I walk to walk with my hands out so I can catch myself when I fall. It's no different from spelling cat with a K when you're in the kindergarten because you understand the sound and you don't quite get to see, and then you eventually learn the rules of spelling and stuff, and then you get it right. It's no different. It's no different from this stuff we used to write called cursive, which you guys don't have to worry about anymore because now you just do everything digital. But man, cursive sucked, especially if you were dyslexic like me. It just looked like you were writing in Arabic. Like, you know, the teacher was like, you were Muslim. Like, no, this is English. And her saying, poor boy. You're going to fail, and it's going to suck. and you're going to keep trying, just like you did in education. And you're going to win, and you're going to overcome obstacles. You're going to stand at the base of a mountain, and you're going to see a peak. And you're not only going to want to be on the peak to say, I can get up there, I can get on the crown of that mountain. You're going to look at the base of that mountain, and you're going to know that it's going to be an arduous journey, but I'm going to enjoy every single minute climbing up that mountain, because when I look down, I was brave enough to stand out. I was brave enough to focus on me. I was brave enough to embrace the journey. Thank you guys for allowing me to have your time today. I wish you much luck. Usually you'd go out and get drunk together as friends and enjoy time off. Now you got to do it with your parents at home, so I hope you enjoy smoking a joint with mom and drinking a beer with dad. Y'all have a great 2020. Congratulations.